Welcome back. In 6 months, voters will not only decide if President Trump stays in office, they'll also determine who will hold each of the 435 congressional seats in the country. So one of the most contentious congressional races is right here in Northern California, District 10. I recently spoke to Republican candidate Ted Howze, who was running against Democrat incumbent Josh Harder. We talked about his campaign and how he thinks Washington is handling the pandemic. First question I want to ask you, since this is the first time I've interviewed you, every candidate that I talk to, why are you deciding to run? Why should voters pick you in November?
Well, I think that's a pretty easy question to answer. I'm a local guy. I've spent pretty much my entire life here in the Valley. I've raised my own 3 sons here. I've served on a local city council here, and I've coached thousands of young athletes in sports through the years. And what really got me involved and made that final decision to run was just plain and simply, I see life getting unaffordable for young people in our valley, in our state. And, you know, I would like to see the next generation have the same opportunities to pursue the American dream that my generation's had. And I felt compelled to get involved and try to do something about it. That was the main reason. Second, my family has suffered tragically due to the healthcare system in this country. And, you know, I feel really compelled to get involved and try to help be part of remaking healthcare in the United States and in a system that puts patients ahead of profits and serves people well.
Okay, so let's talk about what's happening in Washington right now, since that is the ultimate goal for you, is to beat the current incumbent, Josh Harder, a Democrat. So seeing what's happening in terms of rolling out stimulus and the federal government trying to help people, and there's been some criticism that this hasn't happened quickly enough. If I was talking to you and you were Congressman Ted Howze, what would you do differently?
Well, I think early on with the first couple of bills that came through, I would have fought a lot harder for small businesses, those businesses that have fewer than 50 employees like we have here in the Valley, are agricultural businesses that tend to be, you know, real high gross income but low net profit businesses. And I think that's part of somebody whose roots are here in the Valley and understand what's going on, is you know what you have to fight for to affect change. And you know, we've tried to be pretty non-political in this entire epidemic, because I think it's a time for Americans to come together. But when you have representation that really doesn't understand the area that they're representing, a lot gets left behind and on the table. So I would have fought for our smaller local businesses and our ag producers a lot harder to make sure that we got, you know, some bigger opportunities to fund these local businesses in the first round of the PPP.
Do you think that this crisis is really putting a microscope on Washington? You know, the gridlock has been going on. It hasn't just been the Trump administration. It was the Obama administration. It was the Bush administration. It was the Clinton administration. But now, since folks are not working, they're at home, they're playing teacher, the role of teacher, trying to help their kids in terms of distance learning, and they are watching our elected officials every single day, by the minute, by the hour, because they want answers, and they're seeing really what Washington is like. Do you think that this is going to make change happen in November?
I think so. I mean, I continue to hear from people that Washington, D.C. has just become a circus. And, you know, with the circus, they can't tell one group of clowns from the other. And I think that's too bad. I think especially when we have times like this, where our entire country is under the gun and in distress, they expect leaders to come together, to work together. And I think we've just seen, as we sat for 2 weeks, basically, with the PPP out of money and small businesses suffering Washington's paralysis and just clearly unable to get anything done for people. The constituents here notice. They know that something's got to change in D.C.
And if you would like to learn more about Ted Howze or the charity he's recently launched called Operation Compassion, just go to our website, fox40.com. When we come back, Perspective.